How to stop procrastination. Whether your procrastination is a minor issue that's simply hurting your productivity, or a major issue that's preventing you from achieving your goals, you've probably tried to overcome your procrastination on your own before, and saw that this can be difficult to do. 1. Recognize that you're procrastinating. If you're briefly delaying an important task for a genuinely good reason, then you aren't necessarily procrastinating. However, if you start to put things off indefinitely, or switch focus because you want to avoid doing something, then you probably are. You may also be procrastinating if you fill your day with low-priority tasks. Leave an item on your to-do list for a long time, even though it's important. Read emails several times over without making a decision on what to do with them. Start a high-priority task, and then go off to make a coffee. 2. Identify the problem. If you want to successfully solve your procrastination problem, it's important to first understand the exact nature of the problem that you're dealing with. Specifically, there are 3 main factors that you should consider when assessing the nature of your procrastination. When you procrastinate, this involves asking yourself, in what situations do you procrastinate? For example, do you tend to procrastinate more when you're working from home compared to when you're working in the library? Do you struggle to finish tasks after you've started them, or do you struggle to get started in the first place? How you procrastinate. This involves asking yourself what you do when you're procrastinating. For example, do you browse social media, play video games, watch TV shows, go out with friends, or find small and unimportant tasks to complete? Why you procrastinate. This involves asking yourself what's causing you to procrastinate. For example, do you constantly find yourself being distracted, or do you feel so overwhelmed that you don't know how to get started? However, by taking the time to clearly identify the nature of your procrastination problem, you can then figure out a valid way to deal with it, instead of just hoping that things will be different in the future. For some people, procrastination is more than a bad habit. It's a sign of a serious underlying health issue. For example, ADHD, OCD, anxiety, and depression are associated with procrastination. Also, research suggests that procrastination can be a cause of serious stress and illness. So, if you suffer from chronic or debilitating procrastination, one of these conditions could be to blame, and you should seek the advice of a trained professional. 3. Eliminate distractions. Removing distractions from your environment makes it more likely that you will focus on your work and avoid procrastinating. For example, if your phone emits a loud sound each time you get a notification, you're going to constantly be distracted while you work, which will make it hard for you to focus. As such, in such situations, you will want to put your phone on silent mode while you work, or use a dedicated app to block notifications, which will help you concentrate on your work. Research suggests that the relationship between this type of multitasking and low levels of self-control likely involves reciprocal causality. This means that people with lower levels of self-control are more likely to multitask in this way while they're working. But that multitasking in this way is also likely to decrease people's ability to control themselves while they work. Avoid multitasking to focus on one goal at a time. Multitasking makes you feel like you're accomplishing a lot, but it actually prevents you from finishing tasks quickly and effectively. 4. Take small steps. Breaking procrastination-worthy projects down into smaller steps is a well-known and effective procrastination-busting technique. It can be much easier to begin tackling a project that you know you can complete quickly. And once you've taken a few initial steps in the right direction, you can keep moving more easily and continue until you're finished. As you complete each step, you'll likely feel more energized and motivated to complete more. 5. Prioritize different goals with set deadlines. Use a planner to schedule your time. Write short-term tasks in daily or weekly lists that include deadlines for each item. Set deadlines for long-term goals by listing them in monthly entries. Include everything you need to get done in your planner. Say that on Friday your final biology project is due. Set aside at least 3 nights to finish it. You've also got to go to the pharmacy and pick up a new toothbrush and vitamins before you leave for vacation. Do this on Thursday night. You're also taking the SAT in a month, so spend at least 3 hours this week practicing vocab. The strength of this strategy is that it works well with the tasks you must complete in a given day, but also on longer timescales like weeks or months. 6. Identify your productivity cycles. Different people have different cycles of productivity, which means that different people are productive during different times of the day. For example, some people might work better in the morning, while others might be more productive at night. A good way to reduce your tendency to procrastinate is to identify your peak times. Which are the times of the day when you're most productive, and then plan your schedule so that most of your work is scheduled for those time periods. In addition, you should also identify your slump times, which are the times of the day when you're least productive. And then plan your schedule so that only your breaks or most simple tasks are scheduled for those time periods. Finally, when accounting for your productivity cycles, keep in mind that you might be able to handle different types of tasks better during different times of the day. For example, you might be able to handle creative tasks better when it's still early in the day, and menial tasks better when it's relatively late. 7. Reward yourself for your accomplishments. People often procrastinate because important tasks that are rewarding for them in the long term are less appealing than less beneficial behaviors that feel more rewarding in the short term. As such, you can reduce the likelihood that you will procrastinate by associating rewards that are pleasant in the short term with actions that are good for you in the long term. For example, you can decide to take a short break and watch some TV for every chapter that you read in preparation for a test. Or you could eat a small piece of chocolate as a reward for every task that you complete while working on a project. Note that you can reward yourself either for getting started on a task, for completing it, or for working on it in general. Rewards should be given for behaviors that are meaningful enough that they allow you to make progress, but that are also accessible enough that they motivate you in the short term. 8. Improve your emotion regulation skills. Because we often procrastinate as a result of improper emotion regulation. Improving your ability to control your emotions can help you reduce your tendency to procrastinate in various situations. There are 2 main ways you can improve your emotion regulation skills. Use adaptive emotion regulation strategies. Adaptive strategies are strategies that allow you to cope with difficult situations in a positive way. For example, if you're working on a task, but keep being distracted by thoughts about other tasks that you'll have to take care of later. An adaptive coping strategy that you can use is to dedicate yourself fully to the task at hand, and focus all your attention on the present moment as you experience it. Avoid maladaptive emotion regulation strategies. Maladaptive strategies are strategies that cause you to deal with difficult situations in a negative way. For example, if you're worried that there is a problem with the way you're doing a certain task, a maladaptive coping strategy that you might end up using is to avoid acknowledging any issues that you encounter in your work. 9. Find someone who can hold you accountable. Having a person who will hold you accountable for your actions can help you stop procrastinating in some situations. For example, you could tell a close friend that you're trying to get yourself to finally start working on a project that you've been meaning to work on, and that you'll give them $5 if you haven't done so by the start of next week. The person who holds you accountable can be anyone that you trust, whether it's a teacher, a colleague, a parent, or a friend. The better they can hold you accountable, the more their assistance will motivate you to do your work in a timely manner. Note that there doesn't necessarily have to be any tangible reward or penalty involved in the way that the other person holds you accountable. If you care enough about their opinion of you, sometimes even wanting them to be proud of your actions or wanting to avoid disappointing them can be all the motivation you need. 10. Find a role model. A role model is someone who you admire, based on factors such as their values, actions, or accomplishments, and who you aspire to be like. Finding a role model for yourself, and then trying to emulate them can potentially help you regulate your behavior better in a number of ways, such as by increasing your internal drive to persevere in the face of obstacles. For example, if you have a specific role model in mind, and you find yourself in a situation where you know that you should work, but you feel a desire to procrastinate, ask yourself what your role model would do if they were in the same situation, or how you would feel if they could see you now. If you like this video, please subscribe, comment. Thank you for watching.